Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream here on the channel for the Black Hood Crew. I am your host slash chauffeur, BHCxDark. Name is always right here in the corner. As always, you can follow along on YouTube and Facebook at the Black Hood Crew. Then follow along at my name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram, and K. Welcome to Tuesday. That was weird. It is Tuesday. What's going on there? It is Tuesday, June 6th of 2023, and I am on my way to work. So, it has been a very rainy day today. Plenty of clouds in the sky right now. Dude, you're literally in the middle of the road. Come on, let's go. It's been very rainy today. I expect it to rain later. Thankfully, I always keep umbrellas here in the truck, and I accidentally left one at work yesterday. So I have one at work waiting for me. Make sure my bag doesn't fall. Yesterday, as expected, Monday showed up, basically reamed every last one of us, as it normally does. Tried to make the most of it. My trainee got a taste of what it would be like to work where she's going to work, because where she works it's almost like Monday shows up every day. So it kind of opened her eyes a little bit. In the meantime, I at home have been just continuing to play Tears of the Kingdom, working on some stuff which I believe will be fully ready, because Thursday I plan on restarting a series that I started when I first started, called Play It Till I Beat It. And the game for Thursday, starting Thursday, will be The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It will be playing on my PC in a modded format. So it will be playing at 60 frames a second. There will be other mods attached. I will explain those when I am there. As I explained yesterday, from a legal standpoint, what I will be doing is not illegal, as I do own an official copy of the game. I'm simply just playing it on a different platform, but it's still the same game. Nintendo got my money for Tears of the Kingdom. And since I own a legitimate copy, I can do with it whatever I want, short of providing it to someone that does not have it, while also keeping mine. Hence the copying of digital files back and forth. That is illegal. So that is a game that will be played starting Thursday. It will be a brand new save, start from the very beginning. I said I will have certain mods attached. I will try and find some others to kind of make the experience a little bit more enjoyable. But yeah, I will definitely be playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom starting Thursday on my PC. First mod automatically is, I explain it here now, is the 60 frames per second mod. It is a must-have. when emulating this particular game because of the Switch's limited hardware. The game cannot run on anything faster than 30 frames a second, which is fine for the Switch. And the game does run great at 30 frames a second. But if I'm going to be running it on my computer, I'm going to make it run through its paces. So we're going full 60 frames a second. And I will be doubling the resolution. So instead of it being in high definition, it will be essentially in 2K. I don't want to push it more than that to 4 or 8, because unfortunately, if you push the resolution too high, it can't stream properly. So you'll get, frame rate drops and things of that nature. I want to avoid that and at least provide a smooth experience for people watching me play Tears of the Kingdom. And like I said, it will be a brand new game right from the start, no previous save, but it will be modded, so do expect that. I am excited to go ahead and stream this, as I have yet to already beat the game. So you'll be watching me do things and complete certain dungeons for the first time. That's unless I play it on my personal Switch first, but I will be alternating between the two, playing it for my personal game on Switch, which is a legitimate copy, no mods, no anything attached, and then there's the streaming version, which will have mods and stuff attached. I will let you know ahead of time if a particular quest or event occurs that I've never seen before. So we'll be enjoying that for the first time together. So yeah, Thursday, I am bringing back an old thing that I used to do when I first started streaming. All right, so Rain King chimes in, continuing the conversation from yesterday about remakes and certain titles that possibly could be remade, ones that have already been done or ones that will be coming out. In this particular case, he chimes in down below with the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Now, I do have to admit, I never played Metal Gear Solid 3, the original version, when it came out on the PlayStation 2. I did not play Metal Gear 3. I played Metal Gear Solid. I played Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, but I did not play MGS 3. But I did watch someone else play it. So I am familiar with the game. I am familiar with everything about it. Does it warrant a remake at time? Given the fact that there hasn't been a new Metal Gear Solid title since 5, I would say yes. For Metal Gear Solid 3 being the title that it was, as good as it was then, a remake now will kind of reinvigorate interest in the Metal Gear Solid series. But I still would find it hard pressed for them to get a new title, given the fact Hideo Kojima is no longer at Konami. So, are we going to get a new Metal Gear Solid game? That's extremely unlikely. But a remake for MGS3, yes. To reinvigorate life into the brand, into the series, why not? Personally, I would have started with Metal Gear Solid 2, since the original Metal Gear Solid had its remake on the GameCube as the Twin Snakes. He chimes in, was because you lost interest in the franchise? Remember, you was a huge MGS fan. Yes, actually it was. It's unfortunate because the Metal Gear Solid series started out so strong. And this is not including Metal Gear 1 and 2 on the NES, about the Solid series, which started on the original PlayStation as Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty came out on the PlayStation 2. Metal Gear Solid got remade on the Cube as the Twin Snakes, Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes, which I actually bought that. It was great. And they followed it up with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which the remake is coming out, as mentioned below. But yeah, this series does need reinvigoration. I would have personally wanted them to remake Metal Gear Solid 2 first before doing 3. You know, kind of stick with the numbers thing. But if they feel that that's where they're getting the most bang out of their buck when it comes to remaking titles, then that's what it's going to be. Personally, I would have preferred they do Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty before doing Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. And again, if they were smart, they would re-release Metal Gear Solid, but not the original version, do the Twin Snakes remake that came out on the GameCube as maybe a digital-only title that you can get on the PlayStation Store, or hell, make it available on every platform for all I care. But if you're anything of a gamer and you do enjoy great gameplay, great storytelling, and just some great action, the Metal Gear Solid series does not disappoint. But unfortunately, they had a bit of a teetering off. Metal Gear Solid 4 was good, not as good as the previous 3. And then 5 basically jumped the shark. Probably the reason why we haven't seen a new Metal Gear Solid title since the 5th. They've tried mobile titles. They tried a title on the PSP. I think the Vita might have seen a title. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, they definitely need to invigorate the Metal Gear Solid series. And if Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is their way of trying to do that, I'm all for it. 3 was a great title, great gameplay, great story, great mechanics behind it. But yeah, because like right now, not for nothing, and this is why I say a Zelda 64 or Ocarina of Time remake is not necessary, is because that series doesn't need a reinvention. Breath of the Wild was a huge title. Tears of the Kingdom is even bigger. So it's not really a time now for remakes of those older titles because people are all still interested in the series. He says, I'm curious why they didn't play 3. Also, in this, a slap in the face of Kojima since he made 3. Makes sense as it was a new MGS game. But since this is a remake, he should be involved. I said that on a podcast yesterday. You agree? Yeah, it is a bit of a slap in the face to Hideo Kojima. He was basically the brains behind Metal Gear Solid. To not have him around for the remake is, you got to move, dude. To not have him around for the remake is a bit of an upset because, again, he was the brains. He was the creative direction behind the series. And to not have him around for the remake, I think they're playing with fire on this one. I never got a chance to play 3. I did own a PlayStation 2, but that particular time in my life was a bit of a tumultuous one. So I never got around to playing 3. But like I said, I did know somebody who did own it, did own a copy and play it. And I was there for the whole experience. I got to see them play through it from beginning to end, you know, minus bits and pieces here and there of actual gameplay. But overall, I did get to experience Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. But yes, I do agree. Hideo Kojima should be involved in the remake. but ever since he had a falling out with Konami, they basically burned that bridge with him. He is in no capacity, in no way, shape, or form interested with working with them again, which is, again, extremely unfortunate because he was that guy. Just like Shigeru Miyamoto is the brains behind Mario and Zelda, Hideo Kojima was the brains behind Metal Gear Solid. He made it what it was, made it as good as it was, and to not have him around for at least a remake, it's a bit of a problem. It is unfortunate, to say the least. Here's hoping that we do get a future title, specifically from Hideo Kojima. Maybe Konami will, loosen the grip on the owning of the rights, but I doubt that's going to happen in any lifetime, really. So, as it stands now, we're a bit of in a quagmire when it comes to Metal Gear Solid. It's coming down to what's the next title is going to get remade, because they are in no position to make a new one. So going into the future, that's all we're going to get is remakes. Great. Somebody's car broke down or something and they're blocking traffic. Yay. Anyway, so that's how I feel about that situation in particular, and about remakes, at least when it comes to Zelda remake versus Metal Gear Solid 3. Resident Evil needed a huge bump because they tried to do not a remake, but like a re-release of Resident Evil 2 and 3 on, what was that? I don't even remember. They tried to do like a re-release with like updated graphics and stuff, and it failed horribly. The later Resident Evil titles weren't up to the quality of the original titles. 7 kind of picked it back up. And it kind of just ran with it a little bit more, which is good because this shows a rededication by Capcom to what made Resident Evil what it was originally. But that period of time between the original titles 1, 2, and 3, and 7, like 4 was good, but that started to see it start to kind of dip a little bit away from what made Resident Evil great. It was still good, but you saw it start to become something different. 5 was too action-oriented. They kind of slapped the Resident Evil name on it. 6 was too much like 5 and not enough Resident Evil. So when they did the remakes for 2 and 3, this was a good thing. Definitely a good thing. Okay, so he says, I don't mind if we get more remakes as long as it's old games like Metal Gear Solid 1 did, Resident Evil, and Final Fantasy 7. That's FF7, Crash Bandicoot, etc. But remakes like us is a waste. Yeah, that is a waste of time and resources because, one, the most that they can do with a game like The Last of Us 1 and 2 is maybe update the graphics. Otherwise, the game is great on its own. Like, you can play the original version of The Last of Us, and aside from the 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 difference in graphical quality between the PlayStation 3 age and the PlayStation 5 age, the game still plays extremely well. The story is riveting. So, did The Last of Us need a remake? Absolutely not. So I do agree with you on that. It was a waste of time and resources that could have been better spent on another title that was actually more deserving of a remake, say an older title, like Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, or maybe just kind of update the Twin Snakes and give us. But again, if we were in charge, things would be a lot different. But unfortunately, we are not. Like I said, if we're gonna do remakes, it's got to be older titles that were just great then, but definitely use a bit of an overhaul for modern gamers. I mean, like I said, if we're gonna go back to Zelda remakes, I say A Link to the Past. I don't know what style they would do it as. But a remake of that would be an absolute monster. And then both Oracle games, but in the style of Link's Awakening remake, that would be a day one purchase for me, hands down. Other games that could use a remake, or at least an update of some sort. Well, no, full-on remake would be needed for older games. Kind of bring them up to the modern age. Legend of Legaia, Legend of Dragoon. These are JRPGs that came out during the PlayStation era, as PlayStation 1 era. Both were great fantasy RPGs in a time where we were getting our Final Fantasy VII, our Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, which were they in themselves fantastic games. We had other JRPGs. These are Japanese-styled role-playing games. Legend of Legaia, Legend of Dragoon. If those got remakes today, dead-ass day one purchase. I don't even have to know. Those are day one purchases. Let's see. What else? I don't know. There's so many great games that came out long enough ago where, at least timeline wise, they would be due for a remake, but were they enough then to warrant a remake now? And that's really what the question is. Because you can pick a game from, super long ago. Like, someone could remake. Whoa. Ah, wow. Okay. Almost started choking there. Yay. You can rack and pick a game from like the Atari age, TurboGrafx Teen, the original NES, and remake a title from there. But then the question becomes, was this game good enough when it originally came out to warrant a remake now? Fully agree, 100%, both titles, Siphon Filter and Brave Fencer Musashi remakes, day one purchases. I don't care what platform they're on. I would buy that console for those. More for Brave Fencer Musashi, but definitely Siphon Filter would get picked up. Remakes of both of these titles would be, again, absolute changers, if done correctly. Because as we've seen in the past, game remakes can still be screwed up. So you can have an original title that was an absolute banger, straight fire, and then have the remake be absolute dog water. Same game, but the updated version just had a hiccup along the line, and it just wasn't the same. It didn't capture that same feel, or they tried to do too much and ended up changing it from what it originally was into something different, and that is where they lose people. But yeah, Siphon Filter and Brave Fencer Musi, absolutely bangers then, and would be bangers now on a re-release, but only if it's done correctly. And that's where the gray area comes in, is would it be done correctly if it was done by the original studio, or can it be handed off to an external studio that has a good track record of doing remakes? Which would you go? Let's see, a remake of Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World, or even Mario 64, or have them play like Mario 64. That would be a bit of a rough one. Because Mario Brothers 3, I mean, if you're a Mario fan, Mario Brothers 3 is definitely like way up there in terms of just overall gameplay mechanics, playability, replayability. Mario Bros. 3 is definitely where it's at. Super Mario World is definitely up there. So both of those titles getting a remake from Nintendo, I would say would be great, but I think they would lose some of their charm if they were done in the style of Mario 64 with that 3D open world type movement. I think it would lose some of its charm if it stayed to that fashion. I would say maybe in the style of New Super Mario Bros., like you mentioned here. I think that would kind of keep some of the charm of the game and allow the gameplay format to remain the same. Because if you remember Mario 64, you had that free movement 3D aspect of it, but the older Mario games didn't have anything like that, nor did they have a hub world type design where you would go from the hub world to the individual levels like Mario 64. They didn't have that. You basically progressed level 1 to level 2, or world 1, level 1, world 1, level 2. There were ways to skip, but those games did not have a hub world. Super Mario World did to a degree, but you couldn't move freely in that world, and your access to the world was limited based on how many levels you completed. The more levels you completed, the more of the world opened up. Mario 64 does have that, but in very specific sense. Super Mario World was more generalized. You could not continue until you completed the previous levels. And again, there were skipping mechanics, but they were very well hidden. The average player then would not know where to find it, nor even know where to start looking to find those skip mechanics or world skip mechanics. Only the more hardcore players like us not only knew that those mechanics existed, but also knew where to find them. What the hell is the parking lot full? What the hell? So a remake of Super Mario World or Mario Brothers 3, I would say would be great, but it would have to be in the style of, say, New Super Mario Brothers, where it's 3D, but it plays like a 2D game, at least for the most part. Something like that, I think, would work very, very well. All right, here's a decent spots. Oh, that car's too small. There we go. Parked. All right, let's get that. Let me. Where's this thing? Okay, no problem. So, yeah, when it comes to remakes, I'm torn because some games, in most cases, they're single titles. They were never these. Could definitely use the remake treatment, kind of invigorate or shine light to this title, potentially open it up for a series. But some remakes that are coming out now are just like, who asked for this? Who went out of their way to pester you guys into making this or that remake? When you could have been better spending time, effort, and money on, say, a different title. Like, I would absolutely love a remake of Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. Would I want to remake Final Fantasy 9 or make Final Fantasy 10? 9, I would say give it maybe a couple more years. Let's see how the Final Fantasy 7 remake works. They're going to be releasing Rebirth soon, which is basically the sequel to the remake. I don't know why they did it like that, but Square Enix. Final Fantasy X, I think it's too soon. The game is still very solid on its own. It's a great gameplay experience, even though it came out on the PlayStation 2. It is still a very good title. I would say that one wouldn't need a remake until later on down the line. It did get a re-release with 10.2 bundled Switch, which is great. I don't have it, but I've seen it. Seems pretty solid, even on the Switch hardware, which, for all intents and purposes, a Nintendo Switch is actually more powerful than a PlayStation 2. So use that knowledge for what you will. But yeah, a 9 could use it in a couple of years, 10 further down. But definitely both of them would be needing a remake in the future. Right now, I would say 2023, give me Mega Man Legends remake of 1 and 2. Mega Man Legends was a great game. The second one, not as good as the first, but still a solid title. A remake of both of those games, and eventually Mega Man Legends 3, forget it. First day purchase, game's over. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out here. I've arrived at work. I'm parked. Let me make my way inside before it starts raining. I will be back again tomorrow night around 9 a.m. for a live stream from home. So I have been BHCxDark. Name is always here in the corner. You can follow along YouTube, Facebook at the Black Hood Crew. Then you can follow along as well on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram, and Kick at my name directly. I will be launching a website soon with all these links attached. If you can't find them on one or the other, there's one centralized place where you can see me and follow along at the link. So I'll be launching that soon. So until tomorrow night, everyone, please be safe, be smart, be excellent to each other.